pretty much it. So, something really quick. I mean, you couldn't read it because it's here, and sorry about that. So there's a lot of information about the sponsors. Maybe I will just send an email. I know people will not like that, but probably you will not remember this URL. I'm going to send the conditions and the links to everybody because everybody's looking for developers and all the other promotions from the sponsors, right? So it's to.joppy.me/startup. I'm going to send it by email. All right, thank you very much for all of this. It's been fantastic. Yeah, we can just skip this. It's not really important because we're running a little bit behind schedule. I'm going to introduce our speaker for tonight because for those who is the first time coming to Startup Grind, we don't pay the speakers to come here, right? They pay us with their time. Their time is really precious. It's really expensive. Time of managers, CEOs, VCs, and founders. So we're gonna pay our speaker tonight with the biggest rock star applause ever. So there's gonna be music. At the count of 3, you will stand up. 1, 2, 3. Come on, give it up on your stage. Introduce him. Iñaki is a really humble person. I really admire him because he's not only a serial founder. He started some years back, but people think his first company was coches.com, coches.net, and it was not. You also created an insurance company. Then you moved on. Then you also joined Seed Rockets as a mentor there. You created Vitamina K to have some sort of like syndicate of business angels. Then now he's spearheading a VC. K-Fund, among other things. You're also a professor and all of that. And there's something you want to announce tonight, but don't tweet this. It's secret. PR's coming tomorrow, right? Somebody's going to get really angry if we tweet this. Don't do it. I'll leave it up to you.
Thank you, Alex. It's kind of strange to have these presentations because at the end of the day, we're all normal people. And I really hate this perception that some people have about normal people. And I'm somebody really normal. And to explain about my life, I'm gonna tell you several things. And one is that I've sold my company some days ago, and tomorrow is gonna have press coverage. That's it, which is not something super impressive, but at the end of the day, it's nice for me, and of course it's nice for my family, and that's the great news, I guess.
And that deserves a big applause because I haven't sold any company. How many people here have sold a company?
Do you know?
2 or 3. That's good.
Do you know what? If I knew that Alex was going to be like this with me, I wouldn't have come. I wouldn't have agreed to come.
Anyways, thank you for coming. Let's start a little bit from the very beginning, right? I want to give the broad perspective to the audience tonight. Maybe we'll focus more about coches, but I want to hear about the origins of that company. Probably has got an origin in the previous company you founded, right? How was the story?
Well, the story is, you know what? Again, it's. You always want to be like people that you come to some places to listen to, right? It's like, oh, I want to be like him or like her. And at the end of the day, I'm that type of person that made everything wrong. You know, like normally there's 10 things you should not do as an entrepreneur, right? Well, probably I've done like 15. So I'm not that person you wanna look like. The fact is that I started my internet company because my dad said, hey, well, my dad said that because Alex said, this has a connection with your past, right? I was doing things in the insurance industry, and one day my dad said, hey, somebody should do this through the internet. Somebody should help people to buy their new cars in a more efficient way. And I said, well, I'll do that. It was just that. I didn't make a business plan. And I told you before that I did everything wrong. So I started my internet business without a background, without developers, with my dad, with my cousin, with a friend, without a shareholder agreement, without lawyers, with only 28,000 euros. And what could go wrong, right? So everything did.
What could go right, actually?
Yeah.
What did go right?
But that I was lucky.
All right.
Yeah. And that's another thing that you sometimes I speak in these places and I tell people what I've done, and somebody at the end raises their hand and he or she says, "Hey, I've done like you, and I didn't make it. How come?" And there's no correct answer than I was lucky and you were not. And because at the end of the day, I always say that it's a matter of luck, disgracefully. You can try to do everything, but at the end of the day, if you're not lucky, sorry, but people tell you this Picasso quote that, yeah, luck should find you where the time that you were working and things like that, but I don't agree with that. I could tell you many examples of my life that if it was not because of luck, I wouldn't be here. So sorry for that. There's not correct way of doing things. Have fun, do nice things, partner with correct people, and please don't push your limits to the place that your family will suffer. This is fucking bullshit. I am an entrepreneur, right? And as I am an entrepreneur, I need to push my limits, right? But I've seen as an investor too many times that people fucked up their life because they pushed their limits that far. So please, don't do that. You only have one life, and if you do that, and if you run other people's life, your couple, your kids, your whatever, then it's not going to be only your life that you fucked up. It's also other people's life. So don't push your limit that far.
Let's take one step back, because I really want to delve a little bit into the definition of luck. I really like one definition that it's luck is opportunity. Sorry, it's preparation meets opportunity, right? You said I've been lucky in many parts of my life, maybe a lot of them not, but when you were lucky, can you exemplify, can you give some examples of why were you lucky there?
Yeah.
Because you got a good connection in the family, or you get saved, or
so
the right moment?
my father used to have his own business. He used to sell insurance. He wasn't a cool guy, I guess. But what at the end of the day, I saw too many times that he kept on fighting for us. That was it. So when I started my business, I assumed I had this background, somebody working on my side, or somebody that I saw that was working, like as an entrepreneur, whatever. But I have too many experiences of times that this luck happened to me. And one of the biggest examples is that I started my internet company it was called autodescuento.com. Basically, a small niche of a new car business, right? Business, because it was a shitty business, right? And it was only new cars, and we didn't have no audience, no nothing, no tech guys, no nothing. And it was 2009. You can Google for this. And Carlos Blanco, that probably you know him. He's a well-known internet entrepreneur. He wrote in his blog roll, Christian Chena, who is a Paraguayan domainer, is selling the domain coaches.com around 950,000 euros. I am the first person that morning read that email, that blog roll, and I am the first person that comments on that blog roll saying, "Hey, Carlos, thank you for the information. Who could have that money to pay for that domain?" Yeah. First thing, Carlos Blanco wrote about this. Second thing, I read it. Luck things, right? Yeah. Third thing, I did have a business angel at that moment, Marek Fodor, founder of Atrapalo, CTO, and I called him and I said, "Hey, look at this. Somebody's selling coaches.com domain for 950,000. Of course, we didn't even have probably like even $9,500 and 500 euros at our account. And I told him what a payday or whatever. And he said, "Hey, just try it." And I say, "What the fuck? I'm not gonna try that. It's impossible." It's like a guy in Paraguay that is selling his domain for $1 million or euros. How in the earth could I make him? And he said, "Wait, just try it. Call him." And I said, "Well, how?" And what I did is I called him. Well, I didn't call him. I don't know if I emailed him or Skype or whatever. And I said, "Hey, I want to buy your domain. I don't have money." And he said, "Well, if you don't have money, But I told him, but I do have this business. There's a small niche business in the new car section. I think if you give us this domain, we could build a bigger one, right? A bigger business. And he said, yeah, but as you don't have money and you're offering me shares of your business, that is gonna get more expensive. It's gonna be 1.3 million. And I said, well, yeah, that's a great number because my business is valued in 6.5 million. And I will offer you 20% of the shares of my business if you give me your domain.
How did you come up with the valuation? Was it bullshit?
Of course.
Perfect. Yeah.
I built that spreadsheet that we all know how to build, right?
Fake it till you make it. Perfect example.
Whatever. The fact is that he agreed, which doesn't make sense. I mean, again, it was lucky. So
you got it for free. I mean, for free.
Yeah.
You gave away 20%.
Yeah. The fact is that he agreed, and the fact is that do you know what? That domain was banned by Google.
It was banned.
Banned, B-A-N-N-E-D, right? Because they were not those tools that we have right now to see if the domain is correct, but in Google terms and conditions, right? And was that luck? So what I'm trying to say is that there's too many things that happened that if one did not happen, I wouldn't be here. So is this my effort? Is this my opportunities? I don't know. I prefer to say that I'm lucky and that's it.
However, there must be a few things that you have done right. For instance, I don't know what happened, but all the businesses created in that time, they had fucking awful domains, right? Like that one, before coches.com, but like Trovi, it had something like Curro Buscador. Like, that's not really good.
That's not that great.
That's horrible, right? So you had a horrible domain, and you were selling cars on the internet, which is like, I would still not buy a car through the internet today.
Well, we didn't buy them. We didn't sell them. We didn't buy them.
It was the insurance at the beginning.
It was connecting people. It was just a classified business is connecting users that want to buy a car with dealers that want to sell them.
But still, there's these two things that look like really big difficulties for me. Like a horrible business name at the beginning, and then selling something that people were not trained to do that in that time. Now people are ordering Teslas through the internet. Okay, 2019. When did you have this business? When was it?
Well, this started in 2003. I sold my company 6,004 days later. And this is another thing that you should think about. You don't sell your company 1 year later.
So it's 20
You
years
need to suffer that much. And it's a long time. And once I wrote a blog roll saying it was called 8 years, 10 years, 14 years. And everybody said, wow, that's an impressive blog roll. And the blog post. And the only thing I did was listing friends that had internet business in Spain, saying, hey, Fernando, Jesus, and Cesar built Idealista, I don't know what number of years ago.
Yeah, like
whoever, Marek, Nacho built Atrápalo, whatever number of years ago.
Yeah.
And the only thing under that blog roll or blog post was that it's a long trip. And if you feel that you're going to build a company and sell it in 2 or 3 years, probably it's better to buy a lottery ticket that maybe you will make it. So
you sold it almost 20 years after.
Well, it's 16.
16.
Yeah,
16,
16 years since we founded the company.
It's like half
Autodescuento.com, but Coches.com we launched it in 2010. So yeah. But,
it's a long journey. So, but somehow during this period, maybe you want to share what other things did you do right. I mean, we can focus about your fuck ups, but I also want to hear a couple of things you did right to get this business off the ground.
Well, we did 2 things because we were hungry. One was calling. We all build internet businesses, but we do not call because we feel that emails work. We feel that chats work, but we never call, right?
Yeah.
And when you have a B2C business, it's counterintuitive to think that you need to call, but many times you need to call. 1, because you need to sell more, and 2, because you want to understand what's the perception of your users and clients. And we didn't sell cars, but we kept on calling our users to tell them, I want to help you to buy your car in the best way, which didn't make a lot of sense, but was kind of people were kind of, wow, the internet is calling me. And how come are you calling me? Because we want to fight for you. So was one thing that we did because we were hungry. We called because we want to help our dealers selling cars. But at the end of the day, what we wanted to do is helping our users to buy a car in a better way. So I think one thing that we did is calling, which helped us understand that many internet businesses need that offline business to work. We need dealers to sell their cars in an efficient way, and many times they do not call, and because of our calls, we made them call. So I'm sorry for the long thing, but the fact is that one is we called, and the second thing is that I've learned to work with people that are better than me, and I've learned to leave my company when it made sense. Because when you start a company, it's like your kid, right? You're raising somebody, and you don't want to let him or her go, right? It's like, hey, how come should I allow my kid to get big, to go to work, to whatever, and you always feel that the CEO role should be done by you forever. And at the end of the day, that doesn't make sense. People are better than you. There's always somebody better than you. And if you don't feel that, you're going to be the stopper for your company to grow in some moment. And I did this because I started investing, and at the end of the day, I've had more fun investing, and we'll speak about that later. But that helped my company grow, and it was like kind of an accident, but it was like, hey, this works because somebody does this better than I do. So please don't always think from the beginning, even if you're starting today, when will that date make sense for your company?
Well, I mean, I was surprised because for the first time ever, on the open mic, there was somebody asking for a CEO. Like, that was really cool. Normally it's just, developers. Hey, send me developers. Yeah, everybody wants developers. But you stood out. And I was like, oh, you got my attention. I also paid attention to the rest of you. But so I wanted to hear, let's stop here just for a second. This is really important, this thing about calling, right? Maybe it's a generational thing. I hate the phone. Probably, if there's somebody who knows me here, it's like, you never pick up the phone, motherfucker. Yeah, that's me, because it's silent mode, always, right? I don't do calls for selling. Like, I hate it. But I know that when I do, I sell. I get the deals done. I accelerate things, right? Is it a generational thing? Is this kind of like a millennial thing, not to, or was your competition just a bunch of millennials trying to sell cars and you were calling?
I guess that it works. No, it wasn't on our side. It was not a millennial thinking fact. It was that we needed it and we needed to call. But it works.
Who was doing the sales? Was it you?
Yeah.
All right. So you were calling everybody.
Yeah, I visited too many. I know the street because of where the dealers are. I could tell you in that street there's a BMW place because I've gone there.
All right. So what was your percentage, if you can remember, when you were leading Coches? What was your distribution of time between things you got to do and things you like doing? As in, probably was sales 80% of the time and 20 other stuff, or how did you distribute your time?
Yes, and I've lost my time too much because if you look to your day, you should try to think what were the things that you've lost your time, and we keep on losing our time on many things. As I said before, with that example of that blog roll that I read, I was losing my time. It was 8:15 a.m. reading blog posts instead of working. So at the end of the day, I was selling and with a team, and that's it. But I always perceive that I've lost my time too much on my day by day.
What was your most expensive fuck up running Coches?
Not hiring the correct people and not paying.
That's the answer everybody gives.
And not paying the correct amount of money that people deserve it.
All right.
And not firing people that quick.
But that's something that didn't happen. That's something that happened.
That didn't happen because for example, I didn't fire certain people that were bad for my company, and because you keep on thinking on those poor people that work with you and how should you fire them. Hey, you're a nice guy, and you want to give more opportunities, but you're not thinking on the people that will replace them.
Yeah.
And
I'm not asking just to kind of like make fun of this. I want to make it accessible or visible to other people that sometimes we fuck up big time, we lose big money, right? and or the people interviewing, they lose bigger money, and it's okay. I mean, it's not fine, but it can happen, and the company still survives. So some people will not take risks because if I do this, I will lose 10 grand on this, and maybe you had something that was like, well, I lost 100 grand on this other thing. I think we had somebody, the guy from Revolut share, like, yeah, we lost like $1 million in an afternoon doing like the wrong campaign and the wrong timing and all of that. I was like, wow, that's expensive fuck up. Is this something quantifiable that you can share?
Well, I would say that something is like 4 years ago when my partner Nuno got married. 2 days after, when he was in Venice, the servers collapsed, and we lost like half of. Coaches.com had one impressive thing. It was an SEO business. Our marketing investment on a monthly base was around, when I left, 15K or so, 20K, something like that. And it's actually the second biggest vertical in the car classified business in Spain, SEO business. So, which is great, but it's also a potential. It could be a super potential problem. We got a problem because we fucked it with things of redirections or whatever, and I didn't even know what happened. But what happened is that we lost half of our traffic because Google made us disappear from their index from one day to the other. So we lost half of our traffic. It was during 3 days we disappeared, but that's not the bad thing. The bad thing is that when you lose your place, it takes you too much to get back to the place that you were, and it was a big mistake.
I mean, because yours was coches, you know, it was just the word you're looking for on Google. It's kind of like if Starbucks was called coffee, you know,
which is something that it's not that nice because our competitor is coches.net, bigger than coches.com. Yeah. My mother-in-law doesn't even know yet the name of my company. Yeah, how's coches.net evolving? And it's like,
I thought it was coaches.
That's not my business. That's coaches.
Luckily, I do right here. Right?
Everybody says that. Which, for example, Idealista is something easier. Everybody knows Idealista, or maybe you foreigners don't know yet. But it's the biggest app or whatever real estate app in Spain. Coches means cars, but it's not easy to remember. Because it's coaches. Because it's like
I would just type coaches on Google. That's it.
The nice thing is that you appear on the first places.
How did you? Let's talk about this transition to being an investor, right? Because for people who are starting into investing, like myself, sometimes it's like, well, you just don't become an investor overnight, right? You maybe have got some spare money, and you're like, okay, I would like to help other startups. So how did you transition into that? How did you came up with the idea of creating Vitamina K?
I started investing as a business angel because I thought I was wise. We investors are super stupid. We're super dumb. Don't think that we are wise. You are the wise. You are the wise person on the table. Yeah. Always. I really pass bad moments when I listen to my colleagues saying things about your business. It's like, hello, you don't know anything about this, and this is one of the reasons why we diversify. Because if we did have if we knew everything about our business, we'll build it and we'll get super wealthy. We don't need you guys. We would build that business, but the fact is that we don't because we are dumb. I started investing because I thought I was wise. I invested my first check because of two things. One, because things were evolving kind of nicely at the office, and also my family and my wife allowed me to do stupid things, as she said. And I invested my 20,000 first check, my 20K check, my 20K euro check, on a business that my wife told me that the entrepreneur was gonna cheat me because he had something strange. Right. You know, you ladies know more than we know about people, right?
It's intuition.
Because we know about everything, right? Because we're wise, right? We're men, and it's like, hey.
We don't check the math.
Lifetime value, acquisition costs, all these things that we know about them, right? And I had a nice idea to have dinner with my wife, with the entrepreneur and his wife, just to meet and just to celebrate that I was investing 20K. And at the end of the dinner, my wife told me,
"Don't do it.
Don't do it.
But you're a man and you did it.
He's going to cheat you." Yeah. And I said, well, you don't know nothing about this. He's great. This business is going to evolve, traction. You know these words that we all use. The fact is that he did not cheat me, but he was not transparent from the day one, and when the shit was that big, everything exploded, right? We always ask when I'm an investor, when I invest in companies, I always ask about it. I want our companies to be transparent and predictable. That's it. We should be predictable and transparent with them, and we only ask for that. And that did not happen with that guy, and this was why he cheated me, and this was why investors are stupid. And even somebody asked my wife that didn't know anything about that business and about the internet. She was in the private wealth business. She knew more about me because she looked at my forehead and it was like, at his forehead, and she said, he has something. He's not that type of person. And so I started investing like this.
She should be a partner, not you.
Yeah. But this is why I partnered with a lady.
That's perfect. Then we can do that, right?
And she's the nice part.
But there's
and the evolution to the fund was just some people getting together, investing their money that we were acting as business.
So you found other stupid people that wanted to do stupid things, right?
Yeah, it was like, hey, we're fucking
a bunch of them.
How about getting together?
Now I was going to ask, because one of the things that's really it's not frustrating, but it's interesting to say something is you invest in a company, but you don't know if you fucked up or not until 6 years, 7 years in, or maybe 3 or 2, whatever, right? It's like you don't know. It's not like you can know from day one. How do you deal with this? And probably that led you to invest in other companies because you still didn't know that you had invested in something that was going to go wrong, right? So is it kind of like an addiction when you start investing to like, I'll do another deal, pinch in some extra money here?
Yeah, probably the bad thing about when you start investing as a business angel is that you don't think on your investments as a whole. It's just then one and then another one and then another one because I'm having fun. I think I'm wise and whatever. And I tell my friends, hey, I'm going to invest in the next Google or the next Uber or whatever, and I'm super whatever. But that's incorrect. I feel that's incorrect if you want to build a portfolio and to try to think it in a holistic way. And like I'm going to invest 100K in whatever number amount of companies, and I want to reserve some money for follow-ons or whatever. And so I think that's the bad part, but that changes. For example, that changes from on my actual perception when you raise money from others and when you raise a regular VC fund, in which you need to think about too many things.
I always make the same joke, but like I really like to become an investment because I don't like working. Right? It seems like you just pay for somebody else. You're outsourcing your economy to somebody else, which might be a really expensive fuck up. I'll tell you in a few years, right? But what was your motivation to become an investor? Well, it seems to me that you still have got this passion as a founder because you keep founding things, even if they are funds, right? Why did you want to become a full-time investor?
I like people building things, but probably I'm too old to build my things apart from the investment things. Probably that's it. And I found out that I'm not that wise or I'm not that smart building companies. I think I have kind of a feeling about where to invest.
Yeah.
It's a gut feeling. It's nothing. It's not that I'm wise, but I think I have the opportunity. I have a nice opportunity to try to invest on nice companies, and building a fund is kind of building a little company in which we are actually 11 at our office. You've been there, and we really have fun and we learn about too many things because one thing that has changed a lot since the day I started my own company is that the internet has gotten too big and there's too many internets.
Yeah.
When I started my company, it was SEO, SEM, and classified businesses. Now there's too many models, too many industries, too many blockchains, too many AIs, too many whatever, and everything's new. And so my perception is that it's really difficult to learn deeply from one thing, and this is why I really have fun learning not that big about too many things.
But maybe that's a way of actually learning about markets. I know investors who invest in companies so that they can learn about that, right? One of our former speakers, Howard Love, says like, I'm investing in blockchain now because I want to understand it. It's like, well, that doesn't work like that. But you would just pay for a course or something like that. But the course doesn't give you returns.
And you discover industries because of your investments you make. The first time I invested in a company from Madrid called Carto, It's a really nice company.
Not a bad investment.
It
was not really stupid to invest in that one.
It's an impressive. It's one of our best performing companies.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that industry before. When these guys came to me, it was like, hey, it would be funny if you see that deck, because it was like, hey, you know what? We are building a GIS business. It was like, oh, GIS.
Yeah. Like Google something.
What's that? It's geo, space, thing, data, whatever. And this is this big. You know, we all say that our businesses are this big because we want to say that our TAM is huge, because if not, we won't raise money, right? And we are building this thing, which was really difficult to use. But you know what? We are working like this. We are growing like this. You know, this graph, so that we all like.
Hockey stick.
Always draw hockey sticks on the decks, right?
Yeah.
And we have these clients: National Geographic, Twitter, Google, Facebook, the NASA, whatever, VTVA. Not fake at all.
No, but
and it was like, I don't know what you're doing, but I want to invest in your company. It wasn't that.
So sometimes we should focus more on the clients.
I also run a 100K race, 103-kilometer race with Sergio, one of the founders, and
a lot of kilometers.
And I fell in love with him, so that was easy.
Yeah, because you're a runner, so I forgot to say that. let's stop and talk a little bit about K-Fund, because somehow we've got the conception that VCs are there and we are here. They are not accessible and all of that. And if there's one VC I really admire, he is K-Fund, because you should rename it to K-Fun. Because you're always having fun. You've got the blog, you've got the podcast, you do events in Madrid, and I don't know if you do events here, but like
we don't have roles. You know what? Your friend Jaime is one of my colleagues. He's on his LinkedIn. You can find that his role is having fun at.
Yeah.
He's not associate, a partner, fucking names that all the VCs have. Is like I'm partner. It's like, wow, yeah, you rock, man. I'm associate. Oh yeah, then they're not that great. It's a stupid industry with many names that people feel that because they are whatever, they're great, and they don't want to speak with you unless you are a whatever. And it's like, hello, we are fucking people.
I'm trying to say nice things about you because you keep saying really bad things about yourself. So I'm trying to kind of like raise your...
No, what I want to say is that we are normal people and we are not that wise.
But maybe, yeah, the rest are also normal people. Let's talk a little bit how to approach you. You're here, right? But how is the best way to approach K-Fund? Every VC has got like a playbook, right? Some VCs, they want like indirect introduction. Some of them are good with cold calling. Some of them, you got to find out about them. And if you find about me, then I'm going to invest, things like that. What's your playbook in this? How can these people send your deck to you?
LinkedIn, Twitter, and do whatever you want.
Well, you spend a lot of time on Twitter. Let's talk about that.
What I would strongly recommend is always to have a warm intro.
Yeah.
Like in everything in life, it's better not to grab somebody. Hello, I especially because if you grab me someplace, I'm going to be like. Once I was stopped by somebody at the street and he said, "Are you Iñaki Arrola?" And I was like.
Yeah,
yes, and he said, "I know you from Twitter." And so I was like, he said something like, "I really admire you," and I was like,
that happened to me in the gym.
So please don't do that because it's so. But what do we want first? One thing from our fund, which is really important, is like we are all the same at our fund, and if you're speaking with the last person, it's like if you were speaking with me or Karina that we founded the fund. Yeah. We are not going to make that different. So you don't need to speak with me, or you can speak with whoever, because we decide. We at the end of the day we only decide 4 people, but we really want to listen to our team, and we're not going to make an investment if you don't see that investment. So how? There's a form, there's a Typeform form on our webpage, but it's always easier to have a nice intro. And hey, you can email me Arrola, ARROLA, that's my last name, and then add kfund.vc, Valencia, Catalunya. Easy, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect you with somebody from our team. And another strong recommendation is that you need to access the funds when it makes sense. Not not after, not before, and try to understand that you should think on us as a funnel. The nice news is that there's actually a lot of money in the market, a lot of investors, a lot of type of investors, and because of that, this should be treated like a pipe drive or whatever. I'm going to take these people because they are investing on my type of business, on my moment, and these ones are the ones that I can attract better, easier, and these ones are going to be the harder ones. So I'm going to order them in this order, and let's see how they work, and they will pass through stages depending if you already had your first meeting or whatever. So what I would say is that you can email me if you want to, but it's always better to have a warm intro. The only reason is because we are fighting to try to invest on the best companies, and you're also fighting for the same money. And this is like when you meet your couple or your potential couple. At the end of the day, you decide you wanna spend your time with another person because you like him or her a little bit more than another person. We do not invest on your business sometimes because we feel that we have a better opportunity in another company. It's nothing against your company. Many times it's just like that. It's like, I prefer that lady and not that lady. Does it make sense or not?
It makes perfect sense. However, I have one consideration here because so there's part of the title is how we're living in an investment bubble. I put that because you said something interesting here is like you should contact the VCs in the right moment. However, talking to multiple VCs this year, last year, here at Startup Grind, or me myself personally, they all seem to have the same phrase, which is, yeah, but it's nice to get to know them before because maybe it's too late. So it sounds to me like a little bit contradictory because I also get this message like, we only invest in Series A, but send me deals from like seed.
Yeah, but
like really good ideas.
The bad thing is that I don't know if we're in a bubble or not, but the fact is that there's a lot of competition between VCs.
That's the point.
And one bad thing that happens to us is that sometimes we receive a nice opportunity and we need to decide that quick. Yeah. Which doesn't make a lot of sense because you always want to spend time with the person, trying to understand if it's also a nice fit in a personal way of thinking. Yeah. So it's better if you know those people before, but too many times. So what I would strongly recommend is trying to meet people, or at least pinging people sometime before, just to tell them, hey, I'm going to connect you or whatever. It's not yet our moment, but it would be super if I get to know you. And it's also not only ourselves meeting you, it's also yourselves meeting us and understanding that we are your correct couple or whatever. Because many times you don't do due diligence about funds, and you need to do diligence about funds. You need to ask to all the portfolio companies of that fund or investor why you should accept investment by them. Because there's many investors that you don't want to receive investment from. So please, due diligence on us. And always choose what's better for all your shareholders. Not for you, not for me, but for all your shareholders. And always, if you're attacking funds, always think backwards when you were looking for money from business angels, and don't forget about them. This is also important.
And that brings me to my next question, because you said there's a lot of competition. The fact that, for instance, here in Barcelona, we've got the first international VC opening an office here, that brings great
VC.
It's great VC, but not only brings an extra VC, but it brings perhaps a more international vision and mentality, right? How does that affect an ecosystem?
We need to. I really liked what you do at the beginning, like helping each other, right? We at K-Fund, we're strange people. We do too many things to help the ecosystem, and that's it. And we are not looking for the payback, because we think that ecosystems need to get built by everybody helping each other. Silicon Valley is not a place of whatever. It's people connecting and making business together. If we make it that bigger, our piece of the pie will get bigger. This is why we help each other, right? For example, we built a list of who are the active investors right now, divided in 3 blocks: business angels, small funds, and bigger funds, with the links to their web pages and with the links to their LinkedIn in our web page. Does it make sense? No, because we're helping our competitors, right? But we feel that's the type of thing that we should do. For example, the podcast that you said, this is because Jaime said, hey, there's interesting people that come to our office on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't we interview them and talk to them kind of what the things that we're going to talk, and try to share them with the rest of the community? Why not? How can it harm us? The fact is that at the end of the day, it really gets paid, but we don't do it because of that. You know what? We've raised $2 million of our $70 million fund because of the podcast. People wrote us emails. I want to invest in your fund. I was like, what? Yeah, I've heard the podcast.
So everybody go now open a podcast. That's the key lesson.
No, but what I'm saying is that, and we have a quote, an internal quote at our fund that says, through connect and generosity, you can create magic. And we really do that. And at the end of the day, hey, even if you don't want to, we're all going to die. Just leave this world without helping each other. Are you going to be happier? I assume you're not, but maybe you want to work like that.
Last 2 questions from my side. I'm going to open the floor for questions. The first one is, you're based in Madrid, and Madrid is an incredible city. It's way bigger than this one. It's got also a thriving startup ecosystem. It's got the second biggest team of football in the world. You cannot have it all. But what do you see in the differences in the startups? Because I seem to remember you've got a lot of investments here in Barcelona, right? What are the main differences between the 2 ecosystems? In the mentality, perhaps.
Disclaimer.
Yeah.
You prefer to win the Spanish league. We prefer winning European Champions League. So.
We don't want to pay for titles.
But it's nice because we divided into the 2 teams, so we allow you to win.
I always keep inviting people from Real Madrid supporters. I don't know why.
Nobody's perfect.
Exactly.
We always say that we are so lucky that we have 2 nice ecosystems in Spain. Well, not only 2, because there's also more things. There's Valencia, there's Malaga, there's more things. But the fact is that Barcelona and Madrid, Barcelona is more important than Madrid, and we always say that there's 3 ecosystems. Right. And I think there's a nice example of this audience. We always say that there's 3 ecosystems: Barcelona, Madrid, and the foreign people at Barcelona.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Some of them are here, which doesn't happen in Madrid. There's a lot of foreigners in Barcelona because the perception from people from outside, and also from me, is that it's the nicest place to live than Madrid. Hey, you got the mountains, you got too many things that we don't have over there. Yeah. So I don't feel there's big differences apart from that. That you have too many foreigners that are building nice companies over here, and our portfolio is like divided into three parts. One, Barcelona startups, the other one, Madrid startups, and the other one, whatever places.
Last question for me is: everybody has got a useless superpower, something that's really useless, but you do it really well. What is yours?
I have a big aquarium in my house.
An aquarium?
Right. Yeah.
How big is it? It's like
580 liters.
I couldn't quantify that. Is it like a bathtub?
No.
It's bigger than that?
That's really big. It's like this high, and it goes like until here, something like that.
Not bad. That's a pretty big one.
It's useless, but I do like fish.
They give you peace when you contemplate that.
I know. My kids
give
know
a big applause. Let's go for the question.